Welcome back, everyone, to Those Film Nerds podcast. I'm joined today by my co-host and good friend, Sam Dierberger.
How are we doing today?
Not too bad. It's a nice day out, actually. It is warm.
It's Memorial Day. It's been a beautiful Memorial Day weekend.
It has been.
Great movie watching weather, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's interesting because we're about 5 months into 2020, which has been so far an absolutely fascinating year.
Yeah. And a dismal year for movies because nothing is coming out.
And a dismal year. Nothing is coming out. What have we gotten? We've gotten like Trolls World Tour for a premiere.
Yeah.
That's all we've got.
Dude, I'm looking at my 2020 list right now. I have a lot. I'm at like 35 or something like that. Have come out in 2020. 34. Man, like some of them are good because even though they're just straight to streaming, but like, yikes.
Yeah. It's a weird time for everyone, but especially for the film community because, one would think that people with lockdown and quarantine, people are spending more time watching movies. And I guess it could be beneficial long term to think that, well, no movies are really coming out. So if people are watching movies, they're watching movies they've always wanted to see that are considered classics or something from home, which I guess is good. For the overall intellectual fabric.
We can hope,
I suppose.
Tenet is still on for July 17th. Nolan hasn't done anything with it yet.
Yes. I was also going to mention Tenet is reportedly, I read an article yesterday. Tenet is reportedly 3 hours and 15 minutes long.
Dude, I'm in. I don't even care. If Nolan made a 4-hour movie and was like, watch it, I'd be like, okay. Dude, I'm
3
there.
3 hours and 15 minutes is ambitious. It's ambitious.
Did you see
it.
Did you see the second trailer?
No, I haven't watched the second trailer yet.
Oh man, you got to check this out check that trailer out after we're done here. But like that trailer is nuts. John David Washington's character is like shooting a gun, and then the person training him is like, "You're actually not shooting it; you're catching it." And the bullet like comes back into the gun, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is gonna be awesome."
I read another article. Okay, this is kind of earth-shattering because the conventional wisdom up till this point is, oh my God, Nolan's tackling time travel in Tenet. It's like the one weird concept he hasn't tackled yet. Right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, someone on the film said that, like, no, it's not about time travel.
Well, it's not really time travel. It's like time reversion, really. It's like playing time backwards. I feel like
so it's like a freeze reverse.
Yeah, I don't think you can describe it until you see it. Like, I don't think anyone knows what it is yet until you watch. I mean, other than Nolan and John David Washington and Robert Pattinson, but like, I don't think anyone knows what it is until we see it. Super excited for that, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, no, that's what I was just gonna say. That's what Nolan wants. He wants it to be different and like hidden away until July, which, presumably I think things will be opened back up by July and everyone will be raring to go to the theaters.
Man, I hope so.
Basically watch just about anything, So I think I'm predicting a huge box office turn for Tenet.
Well,
Not just because it's a Chris Nolan movie, also it's a movie.
So Tenet is July 17th, but Mulan is July 24th. So that might sponge up the couple weeks after the first week for Tenet. Because Mulan's going to make $50 billion for Disney.
I so resent that. there is so much hatred in my heart for that.
And we'll get to a full episode on Disney later. But with that being said, not looking at 2020, let's go back a year since nothing is coming out now. Let's look at 2019 as a year for movies.
Yes.
One of the best years for movies of our 18 years on this planet.
Yes.
And I think that's just because, we got lucky, really, is what happened, is that so many great directors just happened to be making a movie the same year. And so many good up-and-coming directors as well. I mean, shoot, you had like Scorsese, Tarantino, Baumbach, Bong Joon-ho, like all these great, Sam Mendes, all these great directors making movies in the same year. Like that just doesn't happen that often,
Yeah, absolutely. And it was just this weird coinciding of so many great talents at once, and a lot of great actors too.
Absolutely. Man, I mean, at the Oscar race, this is some of the best acting Oscar performances in a while, and those categories were stacked too.
Yeah. Well, you've had a good year when you snubbed De Niro out of an Oscar.
Yeah, because
Best Actor, it's like a serious role. It's not a Meet the Fockers role,
or it's not the intern role. Yeah,
it's pretty serious. So, you have a great year there, and God, I couldn't wrap my head around. It just felt like every month there was a new movie that came out that everyone was talking about, particularly as we got into Oscar season, but.
Yeah, from September, maybe October. Like October had Joker and Knives Out, and then November had like Irishman and Ford v Ferrari, and then Marriage Story as well, and then Christmas obviously. Well, even August like had Hollywood, but then like December was Uncut Gems and Little Women and 1917. Great year.
Those were the late masterpieces, I guess.
Man, what a year! I had a lot of fun last year too. Like a lot of good movies came out last year.
Yeah, it is the most fun you could ever have at a cinema in 2019.
Absolutely,
because you could go every 2 weeks and see something
new,
decent.
Not and blockbusters last year were pretty poor. I will say that. I'm a combo platter. I love Oscar movies and I love blockbusters, but blockbusters were not great last year. We had Endgame, Avengers Endgame, and Toy Story 4, but that was about it.
Yeah, I didn't even. Well, the audience already knows. Like, I don't bother to attend Marvel movies at this point because I know I'm gonna hate them, so I just don't go. I didn't even bother to see that. Toy Story 4, I'm hitting myself for not seeing because I need to get around to that.
We'll do a Pixar episode sometime soon because Pixar is, it's my favorite studio. I know it's your favorite studio. Animation studio, that is.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So there was that. And even going into 2019, we both had some excitement over Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, absolutely.
We thought that would surely be the best movie we would see that year. Like going in, we're like, oh, this is what we're excited for. Because a Tarantino movie, as we discussed last week, doesn't just drop into our laps annually. He's made 9 movies and he's been around since 1994. Like, it's not like those come around that often. Yeah. So there was that, and we thought for sure, oh, this will just be the highlight of the year, cinema-wise. We'll go see it in July, and it'll be very exciting. And then we hit the fall, and then we realized, oh my God, this movie that I had been reading articles about for coming up on 3 years, The Irishman, is coming out this November. I didn't realize that. And now we're hearing, oh, Noah Baumbach, who made the Meyerowitz stories, is making something with Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, man.
So it really feels like such a surprise.
And that's
for all
really what
of
I
us.
mean when I say we got lucky. Is just that there's so many good filmmakers making a movie the same year as other good filmmakers, and that's why the Oscars this last year were so crazy. Is because like anything could have happened.
Yeah.
So before, I think we're just gonna kind of do like a top 5 of 2019. But I want to. Did you have any disappointments of 2019? I know we're kind of raving about it, but do you have any upsets?
There were a few that I was like, that wasn't up to speed. But it was never, like we've said, it was a surprising year, so there wasn't, any disappointments were really offset by anything else. But and a lot of the great movies I wasn't even expecting, they just came at you.
Yeah.
A fairly, I guess a fairly disappointing movie for me was Midsummer.
Yeah, by Ari Aster.
From July by Ari Aster. It's a good movie. I just felt that it could have been a whole lot more. I remember watching the trailer for the first time and being completely unnerved. It's kind of it kind of mixes this, Scandinavian mysticism with the modern horror techniques, and I was really blown away by Ari Aster's other really good film, great film, Hereditary.
See, I'm the opposite as you. I
just felt that those,
I don't like Hereditary, but I love
just
Midsommar.
weren't on par for me.
That's fair. I have.
What was that?
I loved Midsommar, but I didn't like Hereditary, so it's just kind of weird that we're opposite.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I have 3 disappointments, but it's not necessarily because 2019 was bad. I'm not saying that because I just saw so many movies last year. But my 3 disappointments are The Lighthouse, which I hated, and it's my least favorite movie of all time. I've concluded that. Not the worst movie of all time. My least favorite of all time.
Okay.
Us by Jordan Peele. Man, I thought Get Out.
I was gonna say that too.
I thought Get Out was so strong, like absurdly good. And then his second, which I was super excited for, just didn't live up. It's not like Us was a bad movie. Maybe I had probably had too much expectation, but just a little disappointing there. And then you mentioned it earlier, The Irishman. I like The Irishman, okay, but I don't know. Just it's good, but
on that.
I just wasn't into it, I guess.
I want to, that's true. I want to bring it back to Us because I think the thing about Us is that it kind of snuck in because it was released spring of last year.
Yeah, it was like
once
March
fall
or something.
came, everything became overshadowed.
Yeah,
right. You think of the success, both critically and commercially, that Get Out had, and you realize that it was because it was released in 2017, which was a decent year for movies, but nothing compared to 2019, and it received, praise and quite a box office return, as it should. But Us came and it kind of quickly snuck under the radar. My thing about Us was that I thought it was more entertaining than Get Out, but I also think it lacked a lot of the good writing and good themes that, or I guess I shouldn't say good themes, but cohesive themes that Get Out had. So to me, they're both kind of on par. They kind of cancel each other out in that way.
Okay. Yeah, I think I was just underwhelmed by it, I guess. Lupita Nyong'o is great. Maybe she was subbed for an Oscar, maybe not. Yeah. I don't know. The twist at the end was so bad. We won't spoil it, but so bad for me. It just didn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
That's yeah. So just those 3 disappointments. I don't know. I'm saying this just going right through, but I just kind of want to do 3 more things. Sam, you probably don't have any of this because I'm just bringing this up now, but I'm going to do a newcomer of the year, a winner of the year, and then a loser of the year as well. So my newcomer of the year is actress Florence Pugh, from fame of Fighting with My Family, Midsommar, and Little Women. Sprung onto the scene, man.
Hell of a year for her.
Yeah. Wow. I hadn't heard of her until this last year, and then gets an Oscar nom and crushes it. And she was great. My loser of the year is Tom Hooper, director of Cats. Man, so Cats, for anyone that doesn't know, is a Broadway musical, excuse me, and it's the largest grossing musical of all time, actually. And the movie sucked. So,
can we talk about Cats for a second?
Yeah, give it a minute. Let's hear.
Have I told you this story about Cats?
I don't know.
So you saw the movie, right? You did see the movie?
I actually have not, but I was planning on seeing it sometime soon, just for laughs.
Okay.
I haven't.
Here's the thing about Cats.
Have you seen it?
And well, this is what I'm getting into.
Okay, just go.
I've told other people this. I don't think I've told you this. Now I'm telling all of our listeners this, and it's highly embarrassing. But I saw Cats at the Orpheum Theater in Minneapolis when I was probably 9 or 10 years old.
Oh, okay. The play.
My grandparents.
The musical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I saw the musical, right? And I was absolutely, I was floored by it. I thought it was lovely.
It is a good musical.
There's a song in there that I consider to be my favorite musical number of all time. It's called Memory.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful song. But I also know, growing up, I realized that, Cats is kind of like more of a popular audience pick for a great musical. Like, the critics absolutely hate it. They think it's, just kind of a
it is kind of stupid.
A trivial story. It's literally about cats, singing cats.
Yeah.
And it's kind of bizarre. So I had no desire to see the movie Cats.
I didn't either.
Hooper adaptation. Just because I didn't want it to be ruined for me. And also Rebel Wilson was in it, so I was like, I'm going to ruin it. So.
Yeah, so I don't know how Tom Hooper goes from Les Mis and The King's Speech to Cats, but man, he's my loser of the year. Good work, dude. You did it.
Poor guy.
My winner of the year, Sam, this might upset you, but my winner of the year is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, actually. They did it. I mean, they had 3 movies last year. They grossed $5.5 billion between the 3 of them. They pulled it off, though. They pulled off the 22 movies, now 23 actually, with Spider-Man Homecoming coming after Endgame, and they pulled it off. They pulled off the big that no one thought they could, and they're my winner. The MCU.
The MCU of all things.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I would think, okay, so if we're doing newcomer of the year.
Yeah, if you have some, rattle them off. Yeah.
And it can be anyone, correct? It can be a director, an actor,
anything,
a writer, whatever. I would say that newcomer of the year, I would have to give to Bong Joon-ho, because, and I'm not saying that he's a newcomer in filmmaking. That's not what I'm saying at all.
I know what you're saying.
I'm saying he's a newcomer. He's a newcomer in American culture.
Yeah. For the masses.
What I can tell, there was this bizarre movie that came out, 10, 15 years ago called Snowpiercer. I think it was like 7 years ago.
Which I hate.
As far as I know, nobody had ever heard of that movie until Parasite came out. There was all this buzz about Parasite. No one knew who Bong Joon-ho was until no one in terms of the popular movie-going audience. Film people like us who track film news and watch movies consistently knew who he was right around August into the fall when we heard about Parasite and heard that it was getting all this buzz, and we started researching it. But up until the Oscars, when Bong Joon-ho won Best Director, Best Picture for Parasite, Best Screenplay, Best Original Screenplay, that was when everyone knew his name.
Yeah.
So for Newcomer of the Year, I got to give it to Bong Joon-ho.
But it's funny because Snowpiercer now has I was about to say documentary, limited series on Hulu called Snowpiercer. So check that out if you're into that.
And now it's killing it. So, and this is just me trying to be objective. I don't, as we'll get into, I don't think Parasite was the best movie made this year, but it was certainly close. So there's that. I think Bong Joon-ho wins Best Newcomer.
Cool.
For Biggest Loser of 2019, I'd have to go with. This is tough. Probably Star Wars. Probably Star Wars.
I like Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. I'm in that camp. I like it, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, the reason it's the loser is because it finally confirmed to everyone the reality of the Star Wars sequel trilogy, which is that Disney never had a master plan all along.
Yeah, actually, another loser would be Kathleen Kennedy, the executive producer for all the Star Wars. Yeah, she never had a plan.
Yes.
Which is a problem.
Yes.
Got to have a plan.
Yes. Never had. It's anyone watching those three movies can see very clearly, even if you know nothing about Star Wars, they can see very clearly that there was no one person who had written out the story for all three movies and that it had a cohesive beginning and end.
Yeah.
Some people love The Force Awakens.
I love it.
Some people hate it. Some people love The Last Jedi.
I love it.
A lot of people hate it.
To be honest, I'm a nerd.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly. But it's clear to you that there was definitely some inconsistency.
I wish J.J. Abrams, who did the 7th and the 9th, did all three, and I wish Rian Johnson, who did the 8th, got his own trilogy. When two directors work on one project, and I consider the trilogies one project, like it's going to be varying. It's going to be different. You need to have a cohesive vision and someone that can write, direct, put it on his shoulders, and that's what you get. Like I don't want 12 people working on something because then it never works. Let's hear your winner. Let's hear your winner.
Not just My winner for 2019.
If you have
has to go to. If I have one,
I mean, if you can't think of one,
because there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people to consider.
Yeah.
I think. Okay, this is going to be a controversial pick.
Let's hear it. Love hot takes.
But my winner is Joker.
Ooh.
Because.
It's interesting.
And it's not a comment on the shortcomings or the successes of the movie itself, of how the movie was executed, the story it tells. It's not a comment on that. It's a comment on what it brought to American culture. And the reality is that it pulled millions and millions of people into seeing what they thought was another comic book movie. And what they got was a movie that actually displays emotional tension, that actually addresses mental illness, and that actually gives you something to think about on an intellectual level.
Yeah. Whether...
And I'm not saying it did it the best way.
Sure.
But it brought all those people in.
Yeah. Whether you like it or not, I like Joker. Joaquin Phoenix is my favorite actor.
Yeah.
You can't deny that it grossed over $1 billion. And you can't deny
highest grossing R movie of all time.
Yeah, and you can't deny that that it had 11 Oscar nominations. It was obviously successfully commercially and critically. So I agree. That is a winner.
Right.
And it made people talk about it for months too.
Yeah. And if we're talking about the movies of 2019 and the truly great films that came out, not the average person is going to say they went and saw Parasite. The average person is going to say they would watch Uncut Gems or The Irishman or Marriage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or even Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Oh, that was a little more commercial. No one's going to tell you they saw Lighthouse. Everyone will tell you they went and watched Joker.
Yeah,
because it was on that comic book. That comic book release schedule, because they saw Endgame in the spring, and then that fall they're like, oh, this Joker movie's coming out, let me go see Joker. And I would imagine that most of them were blown away by it.
Well, we saw it together, and I know, like, when we were walking out of the theater, I was telling you, I'm like, this will be a lot of people's, like, average film goers, just like you were saying. Yeah. This will be a lot of people's not favorite movie of all time, but the best movie they have ever seen, in their mind at least. They'll be like, that's the best movie I've ever seen, because it actually, like you were saying, it tackled something that they don't normally see, a different subject matter.
Yeah, and I think we've mentioned this before. The top comment on Letterboxd for the movie Joker is actually a negative review. It's like a 1.5-star review of Joker. But what it says is very true. It says, if you've never swam in the ocean, then of course a pool feels deep.
Yeah, that's so true.
And that's true. That's true. Joker isn't the most introspective movie, but at least it has some introspection.
Yeah.
At least it got people into the pool and got people swimming. So maybe they'll go out to the ocean someday.
The other thing is yeah, you're exactly right. But I won't ever understand anyone saying Joker is a masterpiece, but I also will never understand anyone saying Joker is terrible. Like, it's not a masterpiece, and it's not terrible. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I really don't understand how anyone can say it's a terrible movie.
Yeah, I mean, you might not agree with what Todd Phillips was trying to get at, but I mean, I think it's still good.
Yeah. And it has, some social commentary, some interesting characters. It humanizes probably one of the most famous villains of all time. It gives him a story. And, it's a completely, and when people want to compare it to other iterations of the Joker,
it's different. That's what you have to know too. Like, it's not the same character. Yeah. Like, I guess it's Joker, but like, Heath Ledger's Joker and Joaquin Phoenix Joker and Jack Nicholson's Joker are all different. It's not.
Yes, different characters, and that's the other thing it brought to comic book fans is I don't think comic book fans are used to analyzing, and this is probably a crude generalization of all comic book fans. I'm sure a lot of them are very literate film wise, but I don't think a lot of them, the mainstream audiences, don't really critique character and really think about what motivates a person and where they come from. And with a lot of movies that have actual dramatic tension, actual emotional tension, characters come to the forefront.
Sure.
And it gave the Joker a character, really.
Yeah. You're right, because like Heath Ledger's Joker is on screen. Like The Dark Knight is like a 2+ hour movie, but he's on screen for like 18 minutes.
Yes.
It's hard to give him a character there. He's more just like it's like a persona almost, where Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is more like a character because we got 2 hours to flesh him out.
Yes.
I know what you're saying there.
So Joker has to be my winner of 2019.
No, that's a good pick.
It's obviously not saying it's the best film of 2019. I'm just saying it was the most significant pop culture wise.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think the overall effects of the release of Joker will do a net good to how the average person watches a movie.
Absolutely. Well, with that being said, we're going to be back with just a quick break. So stay tuned. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. I always feel like that's kind of weird for the listener. Like, you were just gone for, like, we were gone for a little while, but like they're gone for like literally a second, and then we say welcome back. I don't know. It's weird to me. Listen to that on other podcasts too. But anyway,
yeah,
so
that's the way it goes.
Yeah, to wrap up the episode, we're gonna say our not top 10s but top 5s of 2019 with just a few honorable mentions. So Sam, why don't you give us your honorable mentions 10 through 6 right now?
So my honorable mentions include 1917, Knives Out, Joker, as I previously mentioned, The Lighthouse, which you hate, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I consider a great movie, but not as great as my top 5. And that's just a testament to how good 2019 was.
Did you say Knives Out in your top 10?
I would say Knives Out is in my top 10. Yes.
Nice, that's good. I like that.
I loved it.
So my top 10, well, 10 through 6, just some honorable mentions. At number 10, Just Mercy. Number 9, Knives Out. So we share there. That's cool. Number 8, Waves. Yep. Number 8 is Waves. I'm not sure if anyone saw this movie, but man, I really loved it. Number 7, Uncut Gems, which I think might appear on your list. Maybe? Can't remember. Okay.
Maybe.
And number 6, Parasite, the aforementioned Parasite by Bong Joon-ho.
Okay. Excellent.
I love all those movies. Just barely slipped out of the top 5. So let's hear your 5.
So my number 5, it is The Irishman, and I kind of, I kind of said this in my review, my initial review. I worry that it's a whole bit of confirmation bias that I chose The Irishman as one of my favorite films of 2019, just because I was so excited for it.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I'm obviously very enamored by the work of Martin Scorsese. I think Robert De Niro is a great actor. I was just excited to see Joe Pesci come out of retirement.
Man, Pesci's
and I love the whole concept of in and out of time, and skating a long time, I guess you could say, as The Irishman does. So, but you were not a fan. You were not a fan.
I think so. I loved everything to do with Pesci's character, and I loved the first hour of The Irishman because it was so much fun watching De Niro's character like get involved in the crime mafia. Loved that part. I couldn't get on board with Pacino. I'm not a huge fan of Pacino and his character, Jimmy Hoffa, I think. I was just like, he's so overboard. And I didn't like anything with Hoffa, which was like the entire second act of the movie. And I was just like, by the time the third act rolled around, I was kind of like out. I was just so beaten by Pacino, just Pacinoing all over the place. And I couldn't do it. I do love the first third. I think everything with Pesci is great, but I couldn't do anything with Pacino.
Yep. Okay, but that's fair.
That's a good movie. It's a good movie.
It is, and I mentioned before that it's the it's the twin brother to Goodfellas, but I like it a lot better than Goodfellas because it's the more reflective one. It's the it says a lot more about what this kind of life entails when you're facing your own mortality. So
absolutely,
that was important to me. So what was your number 5, Will?
My number 5, which kind of switches with Parasite quite a bit. I think I just like this one a little bit more.
Yeah,
is Ford v Ferrari. Yeah. Man, I just love Christian Bale. I can't get enough of that guy. And Damon is equally great in this movie, but like Christian Bale is such a chameleon. Like he's a chameleon actor. Whatever he is, that's what he is. I just enjoyed him as Ken Miles, and I was blown away by the action sequences in this movie. For anyone who doesn't know, it's a racing movie. Like the final race, like most racing movies. This isn't a conventional racing movie, I guess. It's like it's a 24-hour race, basically, Le Mans. But like the final racing sequence is 30 minutes, which most racing sequences in movies are 5, and you just see like small clips like of the cars going by, they go vroom and whatever. But like, man, I was blown away by Ford v Ferrari and just how long those action sequences were and the emotions that were in them. I couldn't believe it. I had zero expectations for this movie, and I was floored by it. No pun intended by floored, but
Yeah, it was. I'm actually embarrassed to admit this, but it's the one Best Picture nom
that you
I
didn't
haven't
see
seen yet.
Yeah,
2019. I really had no interest.
I didn't either.
I'm just not into racing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll get around to it eventually.
Well, it's from Mangold too, so I was excited. I was like,
Yes.
James Mangold, I like, so maybe I'm kind of excited for that. But
yeah, directing my prized Indiana Jones 5 here. So
perfect, exactly. So what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Marriage Story. Noah Baumbach. Really,
I'll just spoil my Marriage Story is my number 4 as well, actually.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. Yeah, you can't. The sheer believability of this movie is astonishing. Noah Baumbach is famous for writing hyper realistic dialogue. That's the only way I can describe it. And every scene in this movie feels like a real conversation between two real people.
Yeah.
In the modern world. Nothing about it feels inauthentic. The acting is phenomenal. Adam Driver.
Holy crap.
If they gave Adam Driver the Oscar for Best Actor, would not bat an eye.
So here's my thing with that is Driver's performance was better than Phoenix's performance, who won. Phoenix did. But like Phoenix should have won like 5 other times before, so I was okay with it. Like he should have won for the master.
Okay,
he should have won for the master. He should have won for Walk the Line. But like Driver is a powerhouse in this movie, and so is ScarJo. To be fair,
yeah, it's her best performance I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
I've gone back and forth with my criticism of Scarlett Johansson. I think in movies like The Prestige, she's kind of just there.
Yeah, she's just there.
She's there for being a pretty face, and that's not to discredit her acting abilities. It's just the fact that she doesn't really play a significant role in a lot of movies, and they give her a leading role, and she kind of crushes it. It's very impressive. And the other thing I should mention too is that people, when it comes to acting, I think a lot of people want to say, "Oh, he was so good in that," or "She was so good in that," because it was the most explosive. Like Joaquin Phoenix and Joker, it was the most noticeable.
Yeah.
The thing about Marriage Story is that if you're just watching the movie and not analyzing the acting itself, it does the best job of acting in terms of pulling you into the story.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's the ultimate job of an actor, is to pull you into the story. It's not to make a show of your own performance. It's to embolden the story and not yourself.
Well,
and I think Marriage Story does the best job of that.
Yeah, it's such script wise, it's such a beautiful movie. Like, it's about a husband and wife getting divorced, but somehow at the end of it, you're still like, they still love each other though. Where it's such a crazy movie that way. How Baumbach's able to do that.
Yeah.
But Marriage Story is my number 4 as well. I was floored by it.
Yeah, it's one I think I'll always revisit. I think it's very rewatchable. And also, too, the Irishman and Marriage Story are both Netflix original films.
Yeah, so they're still on Netflix too. They should be.
Yeah, so you should always be able to check them out.
Absolutely.
Because apparently everyone in the world has Netflix. So
I actually just started Netflix the other day.
I mean, yeah, we both have alternate.
Yeah.
But so yeah, everyone in the world has Netflix, so you don't have any excuse not to check out The Irishman. Well, maybe you have an excuse not to check out The Irishman. You don't have 3.5 hours to spare. But
everyone has 3.5 hours to spare right now, so no excuses.
They do. It's true. So don't give me that like, I don't watch movies; they're too long.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but you just watched 12 hours of
Blue Bloods.
Grey's Anatomy, and you're like, I don't have time for movies. Like,
I can't watch a movie. I have to watch the 4th season of Friends for the 8th time.
I know. I'm like, watch something that actually raises your awareness as a human being.
And little known fact, I'm retired from TV. I don't watch TV anymore. For the audience out there, if I recommend you, actually, I might recommend a TV show today, but this is one that I watched. As I say that, this is one I watched a long time ago. But like, I'm retired from TV. I don't do it. It's too much time to invest. Like, I'm serious. Like, when someone says to watch a 5-season thing of 20 episodes that are an hour each, I'm like, who has time for that? It's 20 hours per season, and then there's 5 seasons.
Yeah. And there's a very important thing to mention here. We're kind of getting off the beat.
Yeah, we are.
But this is important. This is good because this is important.
This is important.
It is because people, a lot of people watch Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime, what have you. They do it because they want to kill time.
Yeah,
and that's no problem with that. But the thing about streaming shows in the age of streaming, it is meant for nothing but to kill time. When you're binge watching, you're just killing time.
Yeah. And
it's meant to get you addicted.
Maybe we can talk about the streaming wars in an episode sometime.
Yes.
That'd be a fun topic.
But yeah.
What's your number 3? Let's hear your number 3.
My number 3 is Parasite. Now, besides being, obviously the best foreign film of 2019.
Ooh, I'll beg to disagree, and we'll get to that.
Oh,
later.
yeah, that's right.
We'll get to that later.
It is the popular pick for best foreign film of 2019.
I agree.
And beyond watching a movie in another language, you have a story that's so idiosyncratic and new and unique, and from what I can tell, pretty good acting.
It's tough to say, but I agree.
Yeah, the thing about, and I've talked with this, we have a mutual friend, a teacher, a mentor, I guess, who I've talked to this about like extensively, is the idea that, is there something we're not quite getting as people who speak English? Is there nuances to Korean that that are not really translatable to us, just as there's English phrases that aren't translatable to people who speak other languages that subtitles can't quite capture?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
So,
well, that's why I learned Korean before watching this movie.
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
it's worth learning Korean for.
Yeah, that was a long crash course video, but I did it. Yeah,
I did it. It only took me a few weeks.
Yeah.
So, yes, and the other thing is Korean or any language subtitles. Subtitles are not something to be afraid of. I don't think. I think if you hear a movie is good and it has subtitles, don't be afraid of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just reading, and more often than not, you won't be disappointed.
We can't stress that enough. Actually,
big subtitle people.
Check out more foreign films, please.
Yes, not on the merit that they're foreign.
Yeah,
A lot of people in Hollywood will be like, watch. Or even people in the film community will be like, watch foreign movies because it expands your knowledge of other cultures or whatnot. No, often you should just watch foreign movies because they're good movies.
They're good movies, yeah. We won't recommend a bad foreign film. That's what we're saying. Like, we're not gonna not gonna recommend you some crappy Korean comedy. We'll recommend Yeah,
America doesn't have a monopoly on good stories and good filmmaking, so the world's a big place.
So my number 3, I'll just get into it. It's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
There it is.
And I think it's kind of a miracle that this isn't 1 or 2. That just shows you how good of a year 2019 is that this movie isn't my number 1.
Yeah.
Because this movie has every right to be my number 1. It's so much fun. I know a criticism of it is that there isn't really a story. But that's what I love about it, is that we're just hanging out with Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Margot Robbie. I mean, who doesn't want to hang out with those 3?
I know. I know. I certainly don't. No, I'm just kidding.
It's so much fun and it's great. I love Hollywood.
Yeah.
Have I seen it 3-4 times maybe?
Yeah. Check out the previous episode for extensive thoughts.
We've talked about Hollywood at length, and
we both loved that movie. Him especially because he's a fanboy.
Seriously.
So
that's my number 3.
My number 2 is actually Uncut Gems. Now
there it is.
I've gone back and forth with whether my number 1 is technically a 2019 release.
It's tough.
I think it is.
I think it is too.
I think it is. We have a mutual friend named Jude Adams who's an absolute scholar about this kind of stuff, and he has assured me that it is a 2019 release. So,
yep.
So Uncut Gems is number 2. Uncut Gems, I saw it on Christmas Day. I thought it was my brother and I went and saw it, and I thought it was the ultimate irony because on Christmas Day, where we're celebrating something pure, something miraculous, something that transcends humanity, I watched a movie about probably every immoral thing that man can be. Everyone in this movie is just terrible, like a bad person.
Yeah, there's no good people.
And it's absolutely, it's so real and so flawed and so human and so well shot, so well acted. Adam Sandler. For those of you who think Adam Sandler only makes crappy comedy movies, I mean, that's most of what he does, but he is a good, serious actor.
Man, another Oscar snub.
Yes. When given the right script, Adam Sandler can really deliver. So,
yeah,
I was blown away by Uncut Gems.
Man, I remember you texting me being like, you have to see this movie. I was driving home when you texted me, and as soon as I got home, I got my wallet, jumped in my car, went to the theater and saw this, and I was blown away by it. Sandler's great.
Yeah.
The Safdie brothers are a name to look out for, the directors of the movie.
Yeah. And the other thing, Kevin Garnett is absolutely fantastic.
He is so good. I was just going to say that the scene with KG, the scene with KG and Adam Sandler towards the end, like their final scene together is one of the best scenes of the year. Yeah. And I won't spoil it because that's kind of spoilery, that scene is, but
yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, go check Uncut Gems out. That was my number 7.
Kevin Garnett plays himself. It's astonishing. It's astonishing.
KJ.
Hey KG, what you doing? Should be stretching.
You got a game tonight. so good. So that was my number 7. But that's no fault of its own. Just 6 great movies in front of it as well. But my number 2 is a little movie I like to call Little Women. Or Mujercitas in Spanish for all you Spanish folk. That was an inside joke right there. Anyway, Little Women. What can I say about this movie other than Greta Gerwig is great, Saoirse Ronan is great, Florence Pugh is great, Emma Watson is surprisingly not bad. I won't say she's great, but I'm sorry, Emma Watson. You're not terrible. You're just not great.
What about Eliza? What's her face?
Eliza Scanlon. She's good. Laura Dern is great.
I had never heard of Eliza Scanlon before this movie.
Timothy Chalamet is freaking great. I mean, Meryl Streep doesn't do anything in the movie, but she's good. Like everything about.
Yeah, I legitimately forgot that Meryl Streep was in that.
Yeah,
movie.
she's the aunt or Marmee.
Yeah,
that's Laura Dern.
Yeah, she's there for a few scenes.
What do they call her?
You're missing the best piece, which is of course Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah, he shows up for like 6 minutes, and we're like, "Oh, what's he doing here? Is he gonna have a major role?" And then we're just like, "Nope."
Well, I sat through this for an hour and a half, and I'm like, I was thinking to myself, who plays her dad? And then Bob Odenkirk shows up, and I'm like, what? My interest was, was instantly piqued because for those of you who don't know, Better Call Saul is the best show on television. It is the one show that is cinematic in the
you love that show.
Fulfilling sense of the word.
Again, I'm retired from TV, so I would have no idea. But
you should watch Better Call Saul because it is not a time killer.
Fair enough. But for anyone who doesn't know, Saoirse Ronan is my true love. So, yeah, I mean, I love this movie. It's so well shot. It's well written by Gerwig, and it's obvious that Gerwig definitely knows how to craft a story and tell a story as well. That has been told a number of times, so, and it felt fresh and new as well.
Yeah. My criticism of this movie was always, and I felt bad when I first saw it because by the time I had seen it, you'd already seen it like 3 times in the theater.
Yeah, I think I saw Little Women 3 times in the theater. One of which was with
absolutely obsessed.
So the first time I saw it, it was with my grandma because I'm super cool, right?
Yeah.
And then the next 2 times I saw it by myself, going to the theater, 18-year-old watching Little Women. And then when I did it the second time in the same theater, it was a little weird because I was like, okay, I'm watching Little Women again. Here we are.
Yeah. But so my criticism of it was not any of the acting. All of the acting was phenomenal. Greta Gerwig's direction was phenomenal. My problem with this, and I've always, I remember saying this when I was like 10, 11, 12, when I first watched, or when I first read the book, Little Women. I just thought it was a boring book. I don't think the subject material is that interesting. I don't think it's that impactful for me. I never thought the characters were that relatable. And really, my entire criticism of the movie was, I don't think it's that interesting. I think Gerwig and everyone else involved did an absolutely great job at trying to make this interesting. It just didn't grab me.
So your point for you is it's not cinematic, and
yes.
Okay.
I can only blame Marie Louise Alcott or whatever her name is.
Yeah. The writer.
May Alcott.
The writer of the book.
I can only blame her. Yes.
Yep.
Of the original story.
Yep, of course. So let's hear your number 1.
Yeah, so this is really out there. There's a good chance that people even inside the film community haven't even heard of this movie. It premiered at a few festivals in 2018, but I guess it kind of had a few theater runs.
It got a wide
release.
Wide release in 2019.
Yeah, and it was big on demand. Like it had a big on demand release, which was very successful.
I think it's on Netflix too.
Is it on Netflix now?
It might be. It might be. I'm not 100% sure though, but I feel like I've seen it there.
It's on HBO and
never mind then.
DirecTV for streaming, and then you can buy and rent it basically anywhere else.
Okay, never mind. So I don't know. I thought Netflix. Don't look. You'll be disappointed.
Don't look. You'll be disappointed. But my point is, so this movie is called Dragged Across Concrete. It was directed by an up and comer named S. Craig Zoller, who really is kind of an older gentleman. I was surprised that he wasn't younger. But it turns out that he actually had a career more as a writer and cinematographer before he actually got into directing.
And he only has 3 movies that he's directed.
Yes. And he is an auteur director. He writes and directs everything. He has a lot of movies that he wrote that he just sold the rights of to a studio. But nothing noteworthy. I don't even remember how I came across wanting to see this movie. I think it might have been Silent Dawn's 5-star review early in 2019, and I was like, all right, let me watch this. And it's absolutely phenomenal. The acting is great. The story it tells is interesting. It has the intrigue level of any Tarantino movie.
Yeah, it's very Tarantino-esque.
Very Tarantino-esque. And as Craig Zoller, the director, kind of does have that tendency in him. He's made 2 other very good movies called Brawl in Cell Block 99 and Bone Tomahawk. Bone Tomahawk. Both very good movies. But so Dragged Across Concrete stars Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn as kind of partner detectives who are kind of they're suspended from duty for basically roughing up this Hispanic suspect during an arrest, and it has a lot of nuance to the story and how this went down and what these 2 men are motivated by. They're very human, they're very flawed, but there's no clear protagonist, antagonist, and basically they decide to rob a bank to make up for their lost income while being furloughed, essentially. And I just thought it was a very well executed film. I watched it twice. I confirmed to myself that it is the masterpiece that came out in 2019.
It is a very good movie. That indeed. And Stephen Craig Zoller has only gotten better too. I think Bone Tomahawk is good. Brawl in Cell Block 99 is better, and Dragged Across Concrete is better yet.
Yeah, and I'm just very excited to see what he can do next.
See what he does next. Absolutely.
He's working on a movie right now that seems kind of weird. It's called Hug Chicken Penny, the panegyric of an anomalous child. Seems kind of bizarre.
Man, honestly, I'm there though. Like I'm whatever he wants to do, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm excited for this.
Yeah,
I'm excited for it. He's one of my favorite directors at this point, just because all 3 of us. He only has 3 movies, and all 3 are quite good.
Our hits, yeah, absolutely. So my number 1, back to the whole foreign language film. I think this is, in my opinion, being better than Parasite. Let's see if I can get this right. Let me see if my French class is still coming in. Portrait de la jeune fille en feu. And that's translated to English as Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Yes.
And this would be obvious if you listened to the first episode, as this was an honorable mention in my top 10. But Portrait of a Lady on Fire, man, can't say enough about this movie. I know I kind of mentioned it. For those of you who don't know, 1917 is a one-take movie. So it looks like it is absolutely one camera movement, like there's no cuts.
Yeah.
And I have a better idea of how that movie was filmed than how this movie was filmed. There's no music in this movie, so how it's able to retain interest is crazy to me. This one, I believe, is also natural lighting. We talked about Amadeus being natural lighting, but this one is as well.
Oh, was it really? Huh.
I'm almost certain it is.
Wow. Yeah, that's really impressive.
Man, I can't say enough about this movie. An all-female cast, too, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, this is the, probably this or Call Me By Your Name, like the most beautiful movie I've ever seen in terms of how it was shot and the stylistic and the themes and things like that.
Yep.
Man, I was just blown away by it. It's pretty sad too, but at the end of it, you're still just like, gosh, what a movie. And Celine Sciamma, who is the director, she actually made a couple of movies beforehand, which they were English movies too. So I'm not sure why she finally went to go back to do a French movie, but gosh, I'm glad she did, because Portrait of a Lady on Fire is great.
Yeah, and we do differ on this. Obviously, it goes without saying this is a very well-made film. It's certainly a good film. My problem with it mainly was, again, this goes back to the are we missing something when we watch a movie in a foreign language? Are we picking something up we don't really understand?
Yeah.
I thought some of the dialogue was a little too philosophical. I'm all about deep philosophical dialogue, but it was a little too unsubtle for me. The characters are making overtly philosophical statements without using any devices to communicate those feelings.
Yeah.
So there's not a whole lot of metaphors in this movie. What should be metaphorical?
Sorry about that, everyone. Just kind of cut out there for a second. But Sam, continue what you were saying about Portrait.
Yeah, so I love the I do love, deep philosophical dialogue that tells you something about the human condition. The problem with Portrait of a Lady on Fire is that I think some of the dialogue is a little too obvious and unsubtle. I think that rather than using devices to flesh out any metaphors that the writer wanted to communicate, a lot of it was just kind of said plainly, which doesn't always make for the most engaging of movies. But besides that, I think the movie is very, very well made on a technical level. Obviously,
Sure.
I think the acting is really good. It was refreshing in its simplicity. You think, well, okay, it's a period romance story, but it was that, and it was honest about what it was, and it embraces it to the fullest, without being indulgent, certainly, in its aesthetic. I mean, I think some of the dialogue is kind of indulgent, but
Sure.
besides that, it's a pretty bare bones, run of the mill film, and that's where it's good. That's where it succeeds.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I'm obviously much higher than you, but yeah. So that's 2019. I hope 2020 can get started. It's weird to say that while we're in May, but
only 5 months in.
Yeah, man, I'm sick and tired of watching crappy Netflix movies.
Yes,
I want to see some. I want to see some Tenet. I want to see some French Dispatch.
I want to see. What am I anticipating? The new Charlie Kaufman film that was supposed to come out sometime this year on Netflix. I'm thinking of Ending Things, is what it's called.
Dang, I'm unaware of this.
Jude told me about it earlier this year, and I was like, what? But I haven't been able to find any updates on it recently since
I'm checking
COVID-19.
Now. Let's see. It's it's not available anywhere right now, so it's not out.
Yeah.
But
I think it premiered at a few festivals recently, but
so we're excited for 2020. Hopefully things will get going here soon. But in the meantime, let's hit some recommends for this episode, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah.
Sam, do you have a recommend for the listener and for me, I guess?
I think that things that I recently have, I guess, kind of consumed. I think I've hesitated. Should I say this now or later? But recently, it was announced that Bob Dylan was releasing a new album next month. And as anyone who knows me knows, Bob Dylan is a hugely influential figure to me. I do think he is the greatest writer of the 20th century. I think he's probably the Shakespeare of our time.
Who is Bob Dylan? Unaware of this guy? Never heard of him. Who's this?
Come on.
I don't know.
Come on.
I don't know who that is.
Will knows how passionate I am about Dylan, how excited I am for the Going Electric movie with Timothée Chalamet. I think Bob Dylan is absolutely transcendent, and he's coming out with his first album of original material next month. Or his first album of original material since 2012, and I'm hugely excited for it. It is more exciting to me, perhaps, than even Tenet or something like that.
Ooh. Wow, what's the album called? Do you know?
It will be called Rough and Rowdy Ways. He's released 3 singles leading up to it. In typical Dylan fashion, he didn't even say what the singles were for. He didn't even call them singles. They were just released to the public without any real knowledge. And they're all great. I'm absolutely 100% floored by what's going to happen.
Good. I'm excited for that too. Actually, now. Cool.
Yeah.
What's it called one more time? Just
Yeah, so it'll come out June 19th, and it's called Rough and Rowdy Ways
Rough and
by
Rowdy
Bob
Ways,
Dylan. By the time it'll come out, you'll have probably 1,000 scholarly articles written about trying to analyze those lyrics. And it'll be a long album too. It'll be a double album, and it's only 10 tracks. So like 70 minutes, 10 tracks. It's like 7 minutes, an average of 7 minutes per track. So it'll be pretty lyrically dense, I'm predicting, and I'm very excited.
That's cool. That's a good recommend right there. I'm excited for that too. So I'm gonna recommend. I know I said I retired from TV, but this, to be fair, this is before I retired. So don't use this on me now. Don't recommend me any TV shows. I won't watch them. But I get to recommend you TV shows. I watched this maybe 2 years ago, two and a half. It's on Hulu, I know. So anyone who has Hulu, check that out. It's called Southland.
Okay.
It's a cop show, which I'm not a fan of cop shows. I think they're all the same and boring. And but this one's different, actually. It's not two detectives solving a murder case. It's beat cops, actually. So it's the cops that go around in their squad cars that get assignments each morning.
Yeah.
And a very good cast: Regina King, Michael Cutlitz. It's a strong cast, well acted, high production value. I think it has 6 seasons, maybe. And it's strong throughout. It's quite funny, even though it probably shouldn't be, but it's very good in Los Angeles. So it's super cool, actually, because it's such a different TV show. So it's available on Hulu. Southland, for anyone who binges TV shows. There you go, Southland for you.
If you're gonna binge a TV show, be binging Southland.
Love me some Southland. Great show.
Love me some.
Have you seen it or no?
I think I saw the pilot once. Early when I was trying to get into, I guess I was trying to get into different TV shows, trying to find my niche.
And obviously it won't be for everyone.
Pilot, but
won't be for everyone.
Yeah, and then movies kind of swept me away.
Yeah.
So, but I like shows. I like shows like that. I enjoy Blue Bloods as much as the next guy.
Yeah, I think we're both oldies at heart too, so that's Blue Bloods is kind of for us.
Yeah, that's true. Old people love them. Some Blue Bloods, and also I was growing up. I loved the shows Monk and Psych. Both of those, kind of the dramedy cop shows.
Yeah,
very very fun. You should check both of those out as well. Very fun,
cool,
very fun shows. So
Sam, where can I find you on Letterboxd?
sjdierberger. We'll put that in the description.
Yep, it'll always be in the description.
Where can I find you, Will?
Find me on Letterboxd as well, at willspalding. And with that being said, thank you everyone for listening to our year in 2019 review. This was a lot of fun to record, so we hope you enjoyed the episode.
Oh, I think at the end here we should mention one more thing, actually. Being that I only think it's fair. So we did get someone to come in contact with us through the email, and he only said his handle is Spartan Squad 1. So I don't know how he feels about this, but he ends the note with just J, so the letter J. So Jay, if you're listening, thank you for getting in contact. We really appreciate it. He says, I thought you might want to check out the movie Arrival if you haven't already. Well, I don't think that it is a masterpiece. I believe that it's interesting to watch and think about. Hope you enjoy, Jay. So we're certainly thankful for that email, Jay. We both have thoughts on Arrival, I would imagine. But
I'm a big fan of Arrival. I like that. It's one of the better twists at the end of the movie. Obviously, we won't spoil it, but
yes,
love Arrival. So everyone also check that out. And thank you for Jay. And of course, everyone can find us on Instagram and at Those Film Nerds, and as well at thosefilmnerds@gmail.com. Send us an email and we'll read it on the show, or let us know what you think of the show, what episodes we should do, what movies you like, whatever. What was your favorite movie of 2019? Definitely email or direct message us all those questions, and we'll be happy to respond to them.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, thank you everyone for listening, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Keep watching movies.